My boyfriend dumped me right after his glow up. 4 years of loyalty, gone because he thinks he's better than me now. But he forgot who helped him become that man. When I met Liam, he wasn't the kind of man that turned heads. Not because he wasn't attractive, but because life had already beaten the shine out of him. He was working 2 part-time jobs, barely holding himself together after his father's death, and trying to finish a degree he'd already dropped out of twice. But there was something about him, a quiet fire. The way he'd talk about his dreams like they still mattered, even when he was broke, even when he had nothing but borrowed faith. And me? I became his faith. I was there through everything, his panic attacks, his late-night doubts, the days he wanted to give up. I paid his rent twice when he got behind, helped him buy a laptop for school, stayed up with him when he couldn't sleep. It wasn't charity. I loved him. Or maybe I just believed too hard that love was enough to rebuild someone from scratch. Welcome to Raw Reddit Tales. Subscribe to keep getting the spiciest stories. It wasn't all sad. There were nights he'd make me laugh until I cried. Mornings where he'd hold me like I was air. We built a tiny world together, one made of inside jokes, shared ramen, and whispered promises. I thought we were fighting the world side by side, that all the struggle meant something, that one day we'd look back and say, we made it. And when he finally landed that corporate job, the one that paid him more than I ever made in a year, I felt like we both had won. I still remember the day he called me from his new office, his voice shaking with joy. Babe, we did it, he said. We. That word meant everything. It meant I hadn't been crazy to believe. But something started changing right after that. Subtle things. He started dressing differently, spending more time at work, saying he was too tired to come over. He stopped texting as much, stopped saying we. It became I. I brushed it off. People change, right? Maybe he just needed space to adjust. But deep down, something in me knew. I just didn't want to face it. The real shift began the day I surprised him at work. It wasn't anything big, just a little gesture to celebrate his first month at the new job. I brought him lunch, his favorite grilled chicken wrap, and a handwritten note that said, I'm proud of you. But when I got there, he looked startled, almost uncomfortable. He wasn't happy to see me. He was tense, like I'd walked in on something I wasn't supposed to. His coworker, a slim brunette with glossy hair and too bright lipstick, was standing a little too close to his desk. When she saw me, she smiled, but it was one of those smiles that never reached the eyes. I felt stupid for even noticing. He introduced me as a friend. 4 years together, and suddenly I was just some girl who showed up with food. That night, I tried to brush it off. Maybe he didn't want to mix personal and work life. Fair. But then he stopped answering my calls for hours, started going offline right after work. And when he did text, it was short, detached, polite, like we were coworkers too. My gut screamed something was off, but my heart begged me to stay quiet. I kept showing up, trying harder, loving louder, hoping he'd feel what I felt. A few weeks later, he told me he needed space, that he was figuring himself out. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor, still holding my phone, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I asked him what that meant, and he said, I just need to focus on me right now. You deserve someone who can give you what you need. Those words broke something inside me. Because how do you walk away from someone you helped build? How do you watch them become everything they wanted to be without you? For days, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My apartment felt empty, like he'd taken the air with him. My mom told me to move on. My friends said I dodged a bullet, but none of them saw what I saw that night at his office. The way he looked at that woman, the way she touched his arm, the spark he used to have only for me. 2 weeks after the breakup, I ran into him by accident. Or maybe fate wanted to finish what it started. I was at the same cafe we used to go to, the one with the tiny corner table we always claimed as ours. I was just trying to distract myself with a latte and a book, but then I heard that laugh. His laugh. I looked up, and there he was, sitting exactly where we used to sit with her, the same brunette from his office. Her hand was on his, and his face was glowing, like a man who finally got everything he wanted. My stomach turned. He saw me too. For a moment, guilt flashed across his face, quick, almost invisible. Then he looked away, pretending I was just another stranger in the room. I left before my tears could betray me. I wanted to scream, to drag every memory out of my chest and burn it, but instead, I went home and stayed up all night replaying everything. The nights I cooked for him when he was broke. The time I pawned my necklace to help him pay his car insurance. The time I skipped my best friend's birthday because he needed me. I had been building a kingdom for a man who planned his escape. But here's the thing. Heartbreak has a strange way of making you see clearly. When I finally scrolled through his socials a week later, he wasn't even hiding her. They'd gone public. Pictures of them at rooftop bars, dinners, vacations. Captions like, "New beginnings." I felt my throat tighten. It wasn't just that he moved on, it was that he did it like I never existed. Then came the message. A long, rambling text at 2:14 a.m. He said he still cared, that he was grateful for everything I did, but he had to find himself. I didn't reply. I stared at that message for hours, shaking with anger, confusion, disbelief. He got to rebuild himself using my love, and then decided he was too good for it. But karma has perfect timing. Because 2 months later, I got a call that changed everything. One that would flip the story upside down. And for the first time, I didn't feel small anymore. It was a Sunday afternoon when my phone rang. The caller ID showed a number I didn't recognize, but something in me said to answer. The voice on the other end was trembling. "Hi, I'm sorry to bother you. My name's Clara. I think you used to date Liam?" My chest went cold. It was her, the same woman I'd seen with him. My first instinct was to hang up, but she sounded broken, the same kind of broken I had been. I didn't know who else to call," she said. "I found your number in his phone. I think he's been lying to both of us." At first, I thought it was some twisted joke. But as she spoke, everything started unraveling. Turns out he never told her about me. He'd said I was an ex who couldn't let go. He'd been seeing her for months before he broke up with me. But that wasn't the worst part. Apparently, she just discovered that Liam had another phone, another life. She'd found flirty texts, late-night meetups, money transfers, all with other women. He was juggling multiple relationships, playing victim in each one, feeding us all the same lines about needing space. My hands went numb. I remember sitting there in silence, listening to her cry on the other end, realizing that the man I thought I loved was a professional manipulator. Everything, the struggle, the glow-up, the self-discovery, had been a setup. He wasn't finding himself. He was upgrading his audience. A strange calm washed over me. Not peace, just a numb, eerie understanding. We talked for over an hour, connecting the dots, comparing timelines. When she realized the overlap, she whispered, "Oh my God, he told me he was single for a year before we met." I laughed. Not a happy laugh. One of those dark, tired ones that come when pain starts tasting like irony. A week later, Clara sent me screenshots, proof that he was now texting another girl using the same words he once told both of us. "You make me feel seen." I didn't reply. I didn't warn the new girl. I just watched from a distance, learning something I wish I'd known earlier. Some people don't change when life gets better. They just get better at hiding who they've always been. A month after that call with Clara, I ran into him again. Poetic, really. Same cafe, same table, different energy. This time, I didn't hide. He looked exhausted, thinner, the shine he'd worn so proudly now dull around the edges. When he saw me, his smirk faltered. He said my name like it tasted strange on his tongue, like guilt had been living there too long. "You look good," he said softly. I smiled, not because I believed him, but because I finally understood something. He didn't hold power over me anymore. Rumor had it things had fallen apart. Clara left him after catching him flirting with yet another coworker, and the new girl, she exposed him online. Screenshots, voice notes, receipts, everything. His job found out too. Apparently, one of his flings was from HR. He got suspended, pending an investigation into inappropriate workplace conduct. It was all over LinkedIn gossip circles before the week ended. The same man who once strutted around in suits now couldn't even show his face without shame trailing him. He tried to spin it as bad luck, told mutual friends that women can't handle his success. I didn't respond to any of it. Silence became my sweetest revenge. I started focusing on myself, therapy, new friends, new habits. I learned to cook for me, to laugh without needing validation, to stop romanticizing struggle. And then something wild happened. I got a promotion at work, one that required public collaboration with his company. The universe really doesn't miss. The first meeting, he walked in late, trying to act unaffected. But when he realized I was the lead on the project, his jaw clenched. I kept it professional, kind even, because nothing hurts a narcissist more than your indifference. He tried to make small talk after, saying, "I'm glad you're doing well." I looked at him, smiled, and said, "You helped me learn how to." That night, I didn't cry or rant or write long notes I'd never send. I poured a glass of wine, looked out my window, and thanked every red flag I once ignored. Sometimes, losing someone isn't the end. It's the introduction to the person you were meant to be. The end. Please like and subscribe for more interesting stories like this. What do you think of this story? Please comment below.